Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Yeah, you know what it is. Hard worker, scrappy, unfiltered, and sometimes unhinged football content. Hard to explain, but you know it when you see it. Doing it daily our way. I don't know what you're talking about right now. Redraft and Dynasty Fantasy Football, we got you covered. You know their defense is ranked like 31st in the NFL? NFL draft prospects and rookies? Now you know you in the right place for that.
Absolutely.
All right, then stop saying it. Then we're done. And prop bets with my man Jay Rich.
Count that money, man.
Now wipe the crust out of your eyes, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake your ass up with Ray G. You honestly are making absolutely no sense and you sound silly as hell. Good morning, 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 good people. It is Friday, September 16th, 2022. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with Ray G, and for that, I appreciate you being here. If it's your first time on the channel, welcome. Engage with the good people in the comments. That's the Wake Up family, man. I see Jeff in the building, Dynasty Barry, Eric, my girl Joe, Roro, Lindsay Mack, Josh Harper, Jay Peters in the building. What's going on, Dynasty Barry? Brandon is in the building, man. It's going to be a good day. We got football this weekend. We had some good football last night, or at least a really good fourth quarter last night. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, glad to be back. I took a day off on Wednesday. I let Jay Rich run the show. You all saw the announcement. Troy King and Laquan Jones will have a fantasy football show on the channel that will drop Tuesday night. So make sure you tapped in here on the Ray GQ YouTube channel. They're going to be doing some stuff, talking about some waiver wire ads, some players, get some different spin and flavor on fantasy. Make sure you tap into that. We got a newsletter, literally just dropped as I was doing the intro. In the newsletter, there's a lot of dope stuff. My man Barry's going over stuff about Kenny McIntosh based on ADP that we're doing. We're running 2023 mocks constantly. Devy mocks, 2023 mocks over at Destination Devy. Talking about Kenny McIntosh, the leading receiver for the Georgia Bulldogs and a running back who's starting to really boost his stock in this 2023 class. Parker Washington, a little bit of a faller at the receiver position. We got some Raheem Sanders, some analytics from Jordan Backus. Got a lot of good shit. Eric Vanek is in the chat. America's Game Podcast, him and Scott Connor drops tomorrow. So we just got all kinds of content. Subscribe. Go to the links in the description. We got picks, we got players, we got rookies, we got Devy, we got all that good shit. We appreciate y'all being here, man. Where's the sponsors at? Prize Picks, get in the building. Use that promo code WAKEUP. Dollar for dollar match up to $100. All right, I think I got all the housekeeping covered. Now we can get to the fun stuff. Jay Rich, how you doing this morning, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's funny that you mentioned, you didn't do the show on Wednesday because as you were saying it, I almost didn't even realize you didn't do the show on Wednesday, but I'm glad to have you back. Glad
to be back.
I'm sure the people are excited to have you back. We're previewing week 2. Obviously, that'll be a lot of fun. After a game that was kind of boring yesterday, Chiefs and Chargers, I wouldn't say it quite lived up to the hype, but the fourth quarter was pretty good, like you mentioned.
Yeah, fourth quarter was dope. Fourth quarter was really, really dope. Yeah. Hey to everybody in here, man. It's good to see y'all, man. It's good to be back. Get the chat going. Get the chat going. We're going to talk about some of these damn games this weekend. We're not even going to play around. News-wise, is there anything glaring that has happened, Jay? I know J.K. Dobbins, we'll talk about that when we get to the Ravens game, but is there any big news that happened over the past couple of days?
I think the only thing that people... Yeah, well, the only thing I think is, we saw Brian Robinson running, right? Should be full go by the time he's off the pup. Michael Pittman, DNP at practice yesterday. I believe he was actually downgraded. He was questionable. He DNP'd yesterday. So today is a big day for him. If he doesn't practice today, pretty good chance he doesn't play. George Kittle did not practice as well. Najee Harris was back, though. Alvin Kamara was also a DNP at practice. And DeAndre Swift, while he didn't practice yesterday, is expected to play. But I am a little bit curious how that shakes out for him snaps-wise, because, again, he's dealing with a bit of an ankle injury. Is he going to play? Swift is going to play, but how effective is he going to be and how much of his workload is he going to have is really the only question, considering he is dealing with an injury right now. But we'll see. But I think Pittman is the big one, right? People weren't expecting Pittman to be injured. He is injured. And then, obviously, whatever happens with Justin Herbert heading into week 3 will be another big piece of news for sure. Yeah,
that B-Rob video, man, was it's awesome to see,
very
man. I don't care about any splits, any of that stuff. Like, to see him running 2.5 weeks after being injured, victim of a attempted robbery, man. Good to see B-Rob on the field, man. It's good to see Brian I'm going to call him Brian Robinson. I'm not going to call him B-Rob. I'm just going to call him Brian Robinson. It's good to see Brian Robinson on the field running. Still looked a little stiff, but I don't care. My question to you is there any, what do you think if he plays, and let's just say he plays okay, plays a decent season, you think there's a chance he can win Rookie of the Year based on what happened to him?
Yep.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
You think there's a chance he can...
I think there's a chance he can win Rookie of the Year. I mean, there's a really good chance he wins Comeback Player of the Year. His odds are probably very low for that at this point, right? But yeah, I mean, I do think there's a shot because I think even heading into this week, Jahan Dotson is the new leader in Rookie of the Year odds just because he had 2 touchdowns and 40 yards in one game. It's one of those years, and I talked to Elliot about it. There is no consensus for Rookie of the Year this year. We might not know until week 12 or week 13 or maybe even all the way down to the final stretch who even the favorite really is. But B-Rob definitely has a shot for sure. Definitely has a shot.
I'm just looking up if they have him. I don't know what the qualifications are for comeback player, but
I would say I would say he qualifies as a comeback player for sure.
I'm trying to see. After getting shot, Washington Commanders running back has become the co-favorite on FanDuel for 2022-2023 comeback player of the year. He's the second favorite at DraftKings. Wow. All right. There we go, yeah. Brian Robinson. He is on there for comeback player of the year. He's just going to be one of those guys that the Washington franchise just loves, man. You know, he's going to be, You already know he's going to be one of those guys that as long as he wants to be there and is producing some level and the money is within the construct of the team, he's going to be there. So happy to see Brian Robinson. And let's get into the game last night. Let's just talk about it, man. Let's talk about the game last night. Chiefs versus Chargers. The Chiefs won 27-24. Man, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is let's give the Chiefs give credit to the Chiefs for winning that game. It wasn't the offensive bonanza that we thought it would be. Mahomes.
You're gonna give them credit for winning that game? I thought the Chargers lost it, man. Let's just be honest.
I'm gonna give the Chiefs credit for winning. I'm gonna give the Chiefs credit for winning that game because they played fine, man. They played good defense up into the fourth quarter. I mean, the Chargers really couldn't get a ton going. I don't know why they weren't utilizing Austin Eckler in the receiving game earlier in the game. Seems like once they got down and they had no choice, that's when he started to get a lot of targets. But I'm going to give the Chiefs credit for winning the game. Mahomes was efficient, not spectacular, right? Sub 300 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He was only sacked 1 time. Mahomes not running a lot this year. Last year we saw him scrambling around a whole bunch. But it seems like they're trying to... if you watch was it the game? Who did the Chiefs lose to in the playoffs last year? Was it the Bengals?
It was Bengals. Yeah,
it was the Bengals. If you remember that game, man, it was Mahomes doing a lot of off-script, running around in the backfield, getting sacked, throwing the ball away. Seems like the offense is more conservative and confined this year, and maybe that's what happens when you lose Tyreek Hill. But still really, really good, right? Travis Kelce, 98% of the bets at MGM Sportsbooks for him to go over 76 yards. And what did I tell you when we were talking about it? I was like, it just makes me want to take the under, right? There was no guy at the receiver position. It was Travis Kelce. Clyde Edwards-Helaire ran well. I know he had one big run towards the end of the game, but even before that, his limited opportunities, he ran well. I thought Isaiah Pacheco had a really nice blitz pickup, and once that happened, I was like, oh shit, they're gonna leave him in here and give him the ball. But Patrick Mahomes was probably right when he said there's not going to be a guy for you fantasy football lovers. We're just gonna do wide receiver by committee. Juju Smith-Schuster did nothing for the Chiefs. And the touchdown came from Jerick McKinnon on a kind of broken scramble play. Mahomes' beautiful sidearm pass, and then one deep shot to Justin Watson, one play after McCole Hardman was injured. So there was not a ton. If you started Chiefs players, you got your 10 points from Travis Kelce, and then Patrick Mahomes got you I don't know what he got you, but he got you something, right? Because he had 2 touchdowns, didn't turn the ball over, got a couple of bailouts on a couple of picks. But the Chargers side of the ball, man, everybody's talking about Herbert. And his gutsy last 5-minute performance, took a massive shot to the ribs, goes off, looks like he's done for, comes back in, looks like he's done for, goes out, comes back in, looks done for, and everybody's like, get him off of the field. And then all of a sudden he throws the best ball of the night across the middle, down the field to DeAndre Carter to set up a scoring opportunity for him. It just shows like that level of arm talent that he has, right? Something was clearly wrong with his ribs. He can't run. His arm is, even after the game, he's like holding his arm by his side, not moving it. So I have not looked at any news reports. I don't know what it is. I'm assuming it's ribs, but I have no clue. I'm just hoping that with the extra time, Justin Herbert is available to play next week because the game is just better when Justin Herbert is on the field. Mike Williams went off without Keenan Allen, 113 yards. He had 6 catches like in the first half, I believe. It was just a monster. One-handed grabs, doing Mike Williams type shit, right? Jumping up over people, contested catches. That's just what he is. He's just really, really good at that facet of the game. Gerald Everett turning into sort of a must-start tight end every week, 6 for 71, showing some of that fluidity after the catch. Looked really, really good. And then from the running back position, like they just can't run the ball. They just cannot run the ball. Chargers can't run the ball. Eckler, 14 for 39, 2.8 a carry. Josh Kelly, 4 for 22. Sony Michel, 4 for 13. They just can't run it. But Austin Eckler did his damage in the receiving game, which helped us, which saved us, 9 for 55 on 10 targets. Anything else you want to touch on from this game? Derwin James was a beast on the other side of the ball. J.C. Jackson wearing off a little bit of that rust from being injured a little bit. But anything else you want to touch on? Justin Herbert, just incredible, man. These Thursday night games are a little weird. I had asked the question. I was like, is it the commentary or is it the game that's boring up until that fourth quarter? It was just kind of... Yeah, it was just kind of punts and defense and that kind of stuff, but it definitely heated up in the fourth quarter. Any takeaways from you?
So the biggest thing with Justin Herbert's injury is that it is an abdomen injury. So Brandon Staley did clarify that it's an abdomen injury. People, on the broadcast, when you're looking, it looked like a ribs, but it also didn't look like he got hit very hard in, on relative terms, especially when it comes to football. But yeah, so there's still further testing going on with that. I think they did x-rays and they were negative, but they still have to do some more testing on that abdomen to see is it potentially torn and, whatever the case may be. But so he's not out of the woods yet, but Staley did say that there is some encouraging signs that he will be okay. And obviously they do have the 10 days until the next game that they play. But Ray, I think, when you talk about the running game, it's funny because Eckler was bad, but every time Josh Kelly got the ball, he got yardage, right? Every time Sony Michel got the ball, for the most part, he got yardage. And I thought actually they ran the ball pretty well. And on top of that, I also thought the run D for the Chargers was really good as well. A lot of the times they didn't have a lot of guys up in the box unless it was Derwin James. And then their pass rush, when they're only rushing 4, dropping 2 deep safeties, I thought they played really well. And you look early in that game, you saw the Chiefs just getting picked apart, right? And then they made a couple switches on defense in the second half and they played a lot better. But I still think like the biggest turning point was that Everett play, right? And they pointed it out on the broadcast. Everett catches the ball, goes down the sideline. They're on like the 5-yard line. He asks for a sub. They tell him, no, get out there. Herbert throws him the ball again. It's a pick 6 because Everett's basically dogging it because he's tired. And so, again, you could say the Chiefs won it, but the way that game was playing, especially towards the end, it seemed like, in my opinion, the Chargers had a really good shot of winning it. Obviously, Justin Herbert did get injured, but I thought the way the Chargers played that game, they're going to be a problem. And I think, this game being that close will hopefully motivate them, if Herbert is healthy, to push even harder in these future games. But it was interesting to see how this played out. But yeah, like you said, really boring initially. Really, really boring. And it was good that it kind of finished well. But that pick 6 really turned the game, flipped it on its head, especially with it following a Herbert injury. But outside of that, I thought, most things that we saw, the one thing I do want to point out, though, is DeAndre Carter is still being pretty heavily involved. Everyone wants Josh Palmer to be a thing. He did catch that late touchdown, but outside of that, I believe he had 30 yards on 4 receptions, including that touchdown, where Carter had almost 50 yards and I believe was 3rd on the team in receiving behind Williams and Everett. So that was pretty interesting development that we don't expect to see from Carter, but he did get quite a bit of work, especially on 3rd down.
35 of those 55 yards came on that final dart from Justin Herbert. So the same way you're saying that about Palmer catching that touchdown, literally over half of DeAndre Carter's production and a third of his receptions came on that one throw down the field. So once Keenan Allen is back, it's Mike Williams, it's Keenan Allen, it's Gerald Everett, it's Austin Eckler, it's still Josh Palmer probably, and then it's DeAndre Carter. Josh Palmer still had 8 targets. DeAndre Carter is somebody, if you get him, you're not starting him with any confidence. He's a best ball only type play, and he's still probably the 5th option in the passing game. Now, Josh Palmer, I said this in our Discord last night, Josh Palmer is going to be, next year, going into next season, Josh Palmer is going to be, he's going to have the same level of hype. He's going to be like this year's Gabe Davis hype. Like, people want Josh Palmer to be this thing so bad, and I just feel it coming. He's about to have the same level of hype, especially we'll see what happens with, I think they lock Keenan Allen up, but I think he's going to, people, if he keeps having these little kind of touchdowns here and there, I think people are going to want him the same way that a lot of the Gabe Davis truthers pumped up Gabe Davis going into this season. So it's going to be interesting to see that situation play out. But we got a lot of games on tap this Sunday, some of them more interesting than others. Can I interest you? Let's start out with the Jets and the Browns. Can I interest you in any enthusiasm for this game?
Well, I think the Browns are going to win. They're going to cover. I believe the spread is 6.5. But no, I will be box score scouting the hell out of this game on Monday morning. So if anybody has some insights and wants to watch the Jets versus Browns, let me know. Send me your notes, and I will happily pretend like I watched the game on the show Monday morning. Ray, I'm assuming that you kind of feel the same way. Maybe you want to watch a little bit of Nick Chubb, but you're not like, I honestly have no interest in these rookies. I don't want to watch Garrett Wilson up against Denzel Ward, Elijah Moore. Maybe it's just, again, there's better games to watch than this one. I don't
Flacco versus Brissett. You don't have any interest in this game?
Over under 250 passing yards combined.
Oh man, they're gonna go over that. That's disrespectful. I want to see Brees. I want to see the split backfield. I want to see Brees and Michael Carter. Right. I want to see if that was just the week one veteran, get Michael Carter a lot of touches because he's the veteran, or do they start to transition towards a Brees Hall-led backfield? I do want to see that. I want to see Elijah Moore get busy, right? But I'm not going to lie. This is not going to be a game that I'm tapped into intently. I don't have a lot of interest in watching Jacoby Brissett loft the ball downfield to Amari Cooper off target, nor see Joe Flacco run around for his life from Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney. I don't have a lot of interest in watching that, but I am interested in seeing what the rookies do. Nick Chubb, of course, one of the best running backs in the league, is dope, but I am not going out of my way to watch that game. Let's talk Miami-Baltimore. This is one I'm very interested in, man. Lamar Jackson versus Tua. There's reports that J.K. Dobbins is going to play this week. Are we there? Do we know if
full participant in practice both days? So yeah,
there we go. So we're probably going to see our first taste of J.K. Dobbins coming off of that ACL, MCL, LCL, PCL, big L, and hamstring tears. Whatever happened.
Meniscus was the one you forgot.
Meniscus. What else is in the knee? Yeah. What else? Patella. What else is in there?
He didn't tear his PCL, I believe.
Well,
it was ACL, LCL, hamstring, and meniscus. I believe were the four ligaments he mentioned.
Well, we get to see J.K. Dobbins on the field, and hopefully this provides some relief for Lamar Jackson in the backfield. You know, trotting out your boy Mike Davis, who you touted last week, and he had a grand total of 1 rushing yard. He did absolutely nothing. Kenyon Drake, they need some help. They need some reinforcements because Mike Davis ain't it. You aren't the only one. There were a couple of other people who told me Mike Davis was a good play.
There was a lot of people in the chat.
A lot of people talking about, they were, Mike Davis is a good play. No, he is not a good play. He is not a good running back. He's not a good play. He's not a good player. He is the definition of roster clogger. If you have Mike Davis on your team, cut him. The roster spot is worth more than Mike Davis. Definition in the epitome of a roster clogger.
You should not be allowed to use roster clogger without clarifying with Eric and Scott first. That they got the trademark on that, and they like those running backs, so maybe they would be okay with.
They don't like roster
He's
cloggers.
Not a roster clogger.
I know that he absolutely is. So you could continue to start him, but we won't do that. So it's good to see J.K. Dobbins get on the field. Hopefully, Mark Andrews is a little more involved in the offense. Didn't do much of anything in Week 1, and Lamar Jackson, man, there's a lot of rumblings. I'm seeing people show odds of where he's going to play football next year, plus 750 for Lamar Jackson to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer in 2023. He's from Florida. He's from Florida.
Boy.
Florida
Can we
boy.
Trade him to Miami? That would be insane.
No, we wouldn't want to trade him to Miami. We don't want to do that. Any interest in starting J.K. Dobbins this week with him being back? Yeah, I'm not.
No, don't do that.
Can't do it.
Don't start Mike Davis either, actually.
Don't start Mike Davis. Don't start J.K. Dobbins. Kind of lean on the backfield. Let's let it.
And I think they only had was it 10 carries? I think, or Kendrick I think had 8 carries. It was a very weird split. So that's the bigger concern is look at the split, see how it plays out. But if J.K. is healthy, maybe he does get the majority share. But Kenyon Drake getting a lot after coming in basically 2 weeks before the season
Hey,
started was not very good for my Case.
You know it's bad when the chat and Browns fans are just clamoring for Cade York. Like everyone's talking about Cade York, the damn kicker. That's how bad it is for Browns fans. You got to cling on to a kicker because there's nothing else right now until Deshaun Watson gets back. But Lamar Jackson versus Miami. We know, what was it, 2 years ago? He and Hollywood Brown lit up the Dolphins early game 1 of the season. Did you see the
not
picture?
The same team, though.
Did you see the picture of Lamar looking a little hefty? He had a bag of popcorn in one hand, a milkshake in the other hand. He had that belly sticking out. Lamar looked
he's
like
going the James Harden route.
Yeah, he's all James Harden out there, man. And then somehow on Sunday he's going to be nice and slim and in fighting trim and ready to go. That should be a fun one from the Ravens. I want to continue to see Lamar Jackson, stay healthy, ball the hell out, get his bag, whether that be in Baltimore or Miami. I think the Ravens are favored in that matchup by, is it 3.5 points? 3.5 point spread. And this one, the Dolphins side of the ball. Yeah, Jay, come on. Look something up while I'm filibustering here. Come on, man. The Dolphins, Tua, right? Tua, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, 3.5.
Chase Edmonds, 3.5. Thank God that I'm on.
Do you think that's a good line?
This.
Do you think that's a good line? 3.5?
I don't know, but I'm talking about the players right now, man. You had your opportunity and you missed the window. I'm having to pull shit out of here. Come on, baby, help me out. But Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Chase Edmonds. Where we at with the Miami Dolphins? Mike Gesicki. We don't want Mike Gesicki. We don't want Mike G.
No.
Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. Excited to continue to watch them. This should be a good game. You know, a lot of people are poo-pooing on the slate this weekend. Miami-Baltimore should be a good one at the top of the hour on Sunday. I'm excited for this matchup, man.
Yeah, Chase Edmonds, he didn't look so great in week 1. I wouldn't say I'm in on Chase Edmonds right now. It's just not looking too good for him. But we'll see.
Kyle Crabb said he's the guy.
Going.
Kyle Crabb said the box score may have dictated. They said he had 2 big, there was some broken play, loss of yards, but Kyle Crabb, who's as tapped in with the Miami Dolphins as anybody that I know personally, said Chase Edmonds is the guy that you want in that backfield. Just relaying the information.
Yeah, I mean, he can be the guy, but he just didn't do a whole lot with that against a team that, in the Patriots that we don't think is very good. I think it's going to be a lot of Tyreek Hill and a lot of Jalen Waddle. At least tell the people what's going on. Don't just play the sad trombone like I'm not giving real analysis here. Stone said, and I pissed down my leg.
Stone said Jay Rich pissed down his leg. The moment was too big. Coach 30 is about to get him. Barry said Edmonds will have his pop-off games. Listen, I mean...
Against the Ravens defense, though? Is that when he's going to pop off?
This ain't the Ray Lewis-led Ravens defense anymore, man. These dudes bleed yards,
good.
Man.
It's the back end,
yeah,
right?
It's the back end.
But Marcus Williams played well in the first game. Pick had a big interception. He's the guy they needed in that backfield. But again, the corners are still shaky. I believe the corner's still getting injured. Marcus Peters is a guy who might not play in this matchup. So that's the biggest fear is actually the outside corners. So again, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle wheels up, but Chase Edmonds, I don't know about that personally. I'm not going to. Ray, would you start Chase Edmonds this week?
Yes. I mean, you have to. If you have Chase, who are you starting over Chase Edmonds? Yes.
A lot of guys. His over-under is 40 rushing yards.
You start Chase Edmonds.
20 receiving yards.
If you have Chase Edmonds, if you drafted him, you probably are going to be forced to start him, whether it's in your RB2 or RB3 spot or a flex spot. He's a running back, man. You're not going to sit him. Yes, if you have Chase Edmonds, you got to run him, right? You got to run him. Is there any we didn't talk about Shoddy B, Rashad Bateman. We talked a lot about the Ravens backfield. Rashad Bateman, it was looking a little rocky last week versus the Jets until he caught that long touchdown pass. Hopefully they get him a little more involved in the offense, right? Come on, Rashad Bateman. Come on, Shoddy B.
receiving yards. Call your shot.
What is it?
46.5 receiving yards. Call your shot.
I'm taking the over. 46.5?
I don't know.
46.5. I'm taking the over. 46.5. I'm taking the over. Okay. New England, Pittsburgh. Let's talk about Mac Jones.
Yuck.
He's got a broken back. His back hurts.
Broke back Jones
versus the Pittsburgh defense, who played phenomenal. Really well. They played phenomenal versus the Bengals, but they are without TJ Watt, and the Najee Harris saga continues. It was a Liz Frank, then it was a high ankle sprain, then he's a full participant at practice. Now he has no injury. I've never seen anything like it, man. Literally, it was like, do we sell Najee Harris for a first? We literally had this conversation. Are we selling Najee Harris and his Liz Frank for a first-round pick? Then it transitions to a high ankle sprain, and now he has nothing. He's just good to go. I don't know what to make of it, man. He's a monster. Apparently, and if you have him, the messed up part is you have to start him because you're not going to bench him. You drafted him too high to be like, I want to wait and see. You got to play him versus this New England defense that's not very good. Where are you at with the Steelers and Najee, man?
Like you said, you got to play him. What choice do you have? Yeah, spinal injury.
Yeah, Mike Tyson, legitimately. Mike Tyson. Those that know. You got to go look that up, Mike Tyson, spinal.
Okay, so we got Najee Harris, 53.5 rushing yards, which is not inspiring, especially after how bad Chase Edmonds looked against the Patriots last week. I think to your point, the Patriots defense isn't great, but I think they're still more susceptible in the secondary than in the running game. And so we'll see how that obviously plays out. Deontay, you're probably going to start. Don't think you're starting Pickens or Claypool. I thought Claypool had a decent matchup last week. It didn't really play out that way. Mitch Trubisky just looked god-awful. Maybe you start Pat Freiermuth if you have to.
It's weird. It's weird because there's a lot of players that they're like, you don't want to start Claypool, but like depending on your roster, league size, he might end up being that final flat. I think I might have to roll Claypool out there a couple of times. God. He's the running back. Didn't he run the ball 6 times at 6 carries?
He was almost he either was the leading rusher or almost the leading rusher because he got so many fly sweeps. But who's winning this game?
Samuel, baby. Oh, yeah, he leads the team in rushes. 6 carries, 36 yards. He leads the team in rushing yards.
All right, who you got in this matchup? Pats are favored by 2. On the road, too, which is I can't do it. Tell me how Brokeback Jones is going to go in there and beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. I can't do it.
Yeah, I got Pittsburgh too, and I got the under. 40.5 is too many.
Troy said it just like me. Claypool a high upside flex. I think he is a flex, man. I think. Again, you're not rolling him out there as your wide receiver too. I pray you're not, or you're with confidence, but you're banking on him doing Chase Claypool stuff, running downfield, jumping up, catching a long pass, falling down to the ground very hard, and getting 4 or 5 carries out of the backfield. He hits the ground harder than anybody else in the NFL, even Mike Williams. It's Claypool and Mike Williams who catch it and just slam the earth.
The upper echelon.
Just upper echelon, hit the ground players, Chase Claypool and Mike Williams. But no, I would take New England favored on the road. No, thank you.
Yeah, I don't get it. And that Steelers defense has been way too good to possibly go there.
And Mac Jones is not healthy. They have no receiver of consequence. I don't know what they're doing in the running game. Ty Montgomery is out. They paid all this money to Ty.
Should see a heavy dose of Ramondre, right? That's a big thing.
What a clusterfuck of like just money management. Like Jonnu Smith, Nelson Aguilar, Hunter Henry, Kendrick Bourne, and none of those dudes are like relevant. None of them.
Yep.
None of them. What are they doing? Like it just you look at New England and
what's changed? We've been asking this question for months.
Man, we give. I'm not taking anything away from Bill Belichick and his resume as a coach, man. But yo, you look at how bad this team has just been. I even think you take Tom Brady off of some of those teams that went to the Super Bowl where no shade to Julian Edelman, but he's not anything special, right? Like you take Brady off of that. What are the Patriots, man? How much did he cover up? Because it looks like they have no clue what to do. From the moment TB12 said, I'm out of here, the Patriots have no clue what to do. Like none. Player personnel, draft, nothing, man. Calling the damn plays. Mac Jones out there calling the plays and trying to run the offense. This is just bad, man. They look bad.
This is maybe like you can say, Tom Brady and how much he covered up, but I genuinely believe, right, this is one of the worst teams they've fielded in years. Like just
I don't disagree.
From a total talent standpoint, like I get the whole Brady aspect of it, but like even Edelman and Welker and these guys, like they were really good with or without Brady. Like Edelman had some good years when Brady was hurt and all these other things. Welker obviously beyond Brady's years. For me, it's just like I don't know what they're doing on either side of the ball, right? Defense has been okay, but the offense has been so bad that they have no business winning any of these games. They're going to lose on Sunday. I don't see how they're going to win.
And they're favored by 2.5?
Favored by 2, yeah. And the line started at 1, and now it's already moved to 2. People they love the Patriots. They believe in Bill Belichick no matter what. And this could be the year that people finally like, you know what? it's not going to happen this year. It's just not. And I don't see how it's going to turn around.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, man. I'm with you. All right, Jay, what game do you want to talk about next? Just kind of run through it. What game do you want to talk about?
Do you want to do Washington, Detroit? Because that one people are pretty excited about.
Really?
No?
All right, well, let's talk about
Carson
it.
Wentz?
Let's talk about it.
Well, Detroit, first game, Detroit's been favored in, I believe, 24 straight games.
There you go. Jay Rich is back on it. He's back on it. Look at him. Look at him.
It's not my stat.
Sometimes you just got to put some fire on ass and people get it together, baby. Let's go, baby. All right, so first time they've been favored in 50 years.
They are presently favored. But it's only 1 point right now. This line could actually flip by kickoff. So but we'll see what happens. But they were opening favorites. Do we think that Carson Wentz can have a repeat performance against the Lions on Sunday? Obviously in a dome, so not outside, no weather concerns. Carson Wentz coming off, I believe, 4 touchdown performance. I'm kind of feeling some Carson Wentz this week. Can you start Carson Wentz with confidence?
I am kind of on YOLO Wentz. It's the experience, man. You know that shit's going to be like this.
We ride it.
Carson Wentz is the roller coaster. You saw, shout out Matt Kelly, the Podfather. He had one of the best videos of all time with the Treylon Burks roller coaster, and he was actually on a roller coaster. That's Carson Wentz. Just replace. We should take that clip of Matt Kelly talking about Burks and just put Carson Wentz on there and just use it for everything because it is the experience, right? You just don't know what you're going to get. But I'm pleasantly excited. Like, I'm surprisingly kind of interested in this one. I think there's a lot of different storylines inside of the game, right? It's Wentz versus Goff. You've got Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin for the Commanders. You've got Antonio Gibson coming off of, a 50-plus rushing yard performance and a 70-yard receiving performance. Can he continue to build upon his positive week 1 and make it so that when Brian Robinson does come back, this is Antonio Gibson's backfield now, B-Rob, and you're going to be his complement like a lot of people thought that would be going into the season. You look on the Detroit side of the ball. I know DeAndre Swift didn't practice. Eric Vanek said Thursday practice reports, take them with a grain of salt. Really start to panic if they're not practicing on Friday. But you got DeAndre Swift. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown coming off of a very good week 1, 8 for 64 and 1 for Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is a game that I think could be sneaky fun, man. Sneaky fun. Like, Jamal Williams, we got to deal with him again. Vulturing touchdowns from DeAndre Swift. We ain't dealing
with it. He's a problem. He's going to be here. He ain't going nowhere, baby. Jamal Williams vulturing touchdowns all season long from DeAndre Swift. But yeah, to your point, I think it's Amon-Ra.
And Curtis Samuel, man. Curtis Samuel.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel
I think that's the biggest takeaway here is what do we see from the receivers and Carson Wentz? How does he target these guys? Because I believe the targets it started with Curtis Samuel was 1, I believe, with 11. Gibson, I think, had 9. Then Dodson had, I think, 4 or 5. McLaurin only had like 2 targets in that game. So is he going to be the primary guy going forward? And kind of how do we separate that? I think that's the biggest thing for me that I want to see in this game.
McLaurin,
he only had like 2 targets in that game, and I believe he caught both, and one was the long touchdown, right? Because he only had 2 receptions. So that's the biggest thing is like it was a lot of Samuel, a lot of Gibson, some Dodson, and very little McLaurin, if I'm remembering correctly. So how does that actually shake out, and does that continue going forward? Because that's a bit of a problem, people who own McLaurin, and a big favor, people who did spend up on Curtis Samuel for Fab. I think you have to start him personally. He was so heavily involved in week 1, and another good matchup against Detroit. I think you got to start Curtis Samuel in week 2 for sure.
All right, there we go. Curtis Samuel with some life. He's got a pulse. Bounce back Samuel. Really quick, we are not about to spend longer than 60 seconds on the Giants and Panthers. It's Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey, right? That's it?
That's it.
Is that it? DJ Moore?
And how bad is Baker Mayfield?
Can I interest you in DJ Moore?
Nope.
Really?
Pass.
You're passing on DJ Moore?
Do you got the Giants at home, -1.5? I do. I think the Giants will win this game.
Giants are about to be 2-0, man. That's why.
Giants are going to be 2-0 and lead the division.
Be 2-0. They're about to be 2-0. But honestly, anybody else from this game that
how about Robbie Anderson? Quick. Robbie Anderson. Maybe?
Best ball only. I'm not.
Well, I mean, if you're not starting DJ Moore, are we starting Robbie Anderson? Probably not, right?
No,
realistically.
But are you not starting? You have to start DJ Moore. You cannot not start him.
I don't think you have to.
You have to. You have to. If you
look at what Tennessee did in the receiving game. The Giants played pretty good, man. They still got a pretty good pass rush too. Like, is Baker going to play? I don't know. We'll see.
Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey, the battle of the backs. That's what I want to see. The battle of the broken backs. You got broken McCaffrey, broken Saquon. Let's watch these
Brokeback Jones. Everybody.
Let's watch these two fossils go get it this weekend. Kadarius Toney seems to be in the doghouse
running with the third team.
Yes,
running with the third team apparently. But he doesn't care though. As long as they're winning, he doesn't
give a damn. He doesn't give a damn either.
He's got that guaranteed contract.
He's got a guaranteed. He's going to get his money, and he'll be on a new team. And next offseason, he'll be gone or by the trade deadline. Yeah. Oh boy. Somebody said let Baker cook. Yikes.
Oh God.
Jacksonville versus Indy, the game inside the game. I think there's a little more in this one than what meets the eye, right? First off, Jonathan Taylor, yes, fire him up. 99.5 on the 90s. I saw him on the books at 96.5 rushing yards for JT.
99.5.
99.5. There you go. 99.5 rushing yards for Jonathan Taylor. You've got Matt Ryan back there limping around in at quarterback because he's old and can't run. Michael Pittman Jr., fingers crossed he plays. Please just play. We want him to play. 12, 13 targets. Michael Pittman, come on, baby, take that step. Become that wide receiver one this season, Michael Pittman Jr. Kylan Granson got a bunch of targets out of nowhere. I thought he was done for. I don't know who the tight end is in Indy. I have no clue. I don't know, Jay. I'm not. Do you want any of them? Mo Alley Cox?
No.
I don't know what to do, man.
It's too sporadic. The routes are all over the place. You can't count on one week after week. I think, when you look for a dumpster dive tight end, you hope that he can at least be the primary option and run the routes. I think in Indy, there's just too many options week to week. We don't know who the tight end's going to be, who's going to block, who's going to catch. I think they can all do a bit of everything, and that poses a bit of problems for us in fantasy football. But Patrick asked or who was it who asked it in the chat? Man, I missed it. Mark asked it. Are we still giving Trevor Lawrence a mulligan?
Man, he had almost 300 passes and 1 TD, 1 pick. I thought he was fine. I thought he was fine for week one. I thought he looked better week one with Doug Peterson than he looked all of last year with Urban Meyer. Even though I think his week one last year was pretty good. But he looked fine, man. He's got a receiver, Christian Kirk. Sneaky good, man. Sneaky good, 6 for 117. He was the cheapest 140 target wide receiver you could get in the offseason.
Yes, he was.
I love his usage. I love his involvement. Travis Etienne and James Robinson, we will be monitoring that situation as well. Hopefully Etienne gets a little more involved on the ground and in the receiving game. We know J-Rob led that backfield in carries, but Etienne still averaged damn near 10 a pop, 4 for 40, 4 for 47. So we'll see how that plays out, man. We'll see how that plays out for those guys. And Jonathan Taylor, of course. Yes, he's going
to be – you got to start him, but I think that's it, right?
Zay Jones.
I would start Christian Kirk.
Yes.
He got a lot of targets again.
Zay Jones, everyone keeps saying it, man. I mean, he keeps every time Zay Jones is on the field, I don't care what team he's on, if they throw it to him, he's making a play, man. He doesn't have a consistent role to be like, yes, you have to start Zay Jones. But if you have Zay Jones in best ball, you should feel pretty good. Like I want that asset, right? Like he could easily go out there and get you 5 or 6 grabs and score a touchdown. So I think Jacksonville has some pieces, man. For fantasy, you're starting a lot of these guys. You're starting T-Law. You're starting both running backs. You're starting Christian Kirk. And
I think that's
maybe deep leagues, you're flexing Zay Jones. Maybe. But
could you start Evan Ingram? Evan Ingram actually got some targets too.
No.
Out of tight end?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. No love for Evan Ingram out here. Damn.
No.
Damn.
No. All right. Another quick game. Houston, Denver.
It's just Sutton or Judy, right? Who's going to be the guy?
9-6, run pass. 9-6, run pass. Let's ride. Russell Wilson is a guy, man. He is a character. I'll tell you that.
That's all you can say about Russell Wilson. He's a
Judy
guy.
versus Sutton. Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. Neither of them can hold on to the ball. Javonte Williams is a great receiving back. You're going to start those guys. You're starting everybody I just said. You're starting Albert O. You're starting Russell Wilson. Are you starting Melvin Gordon? He's a flex play as well.
I think so, yeah. With his involvement,
yeah.
And especially, again, another game environment. We projected a blowout last week. It didn't really play out that way, but we projected a blowout. They're favored by 10 points. So in a game that you project to be a blowout, yeah, man, they're favored by 10 points. Okay, so we can get back to that. But yeah, favored by 10 points right now. But yeah, projecting a blowout, should see more Melvin Gordon involvement like we saw last time. I think the question, Ray, for me is Dameon Pierce. So last week, Rashad Penny had 60 rushing yards on, I believe, like 12 carries. He had a few big runs called back last week against the Broncos. The Broncos were one of the worst teams against the run last year. I don't know if they're going to be able to, if they're going to be as bad against Houston, because they may just come down, sack the box a little bit, but they weren't very good against the run last year. That obviously played itself out in week one. Dameon Pierce is a guy who's supposed to be getting more work this week per Lovie Smith.
Okay.
His line on the books is 42.5 rushing yards. Ray, can he go over that number?
I mean, you saw Rashad Penny have some nice runs versus that Denver defense.
Yeah, he looked very good.
He did look very good. He's 230 pounds, too. He's a big boy. Penny just doesn't look like a physical specimen, but he's got some juice.
The thing that's crazy, he's fast. He's a lot faster than people realize because he still runs like 4.4, and
he is
huge.
fast. Can Pierce get 42 yards? Yes, he can. Yes.
Will he get 42 yards? Are you taking the over? Ray, I am here. I'm waiting for you. Are we taking the over?
The over what? Points?
42.5.
Oh.
No, rushing yards.
Yes. I'm looking at Joe. Joe said I'm drawn to cringe in real life. I'd probably like. I love you, Joe. Yeah, I'm taking over 42 yards. Yes. Who are you starting from Houston besides reluctantly and
do you
fearfully?
Want to start Cooks?
You have to. You have to.
I know you. But
do I want to? No. Do I want to? Is the question. No, I don't want to. But you like. I don't really want to start any of them, man. I don't want to start Dameon Pierce, not really. I don't want to really start anybody. I don't want to start Brevin Jordan. I was Nico Collins.
Sutton, Judy,
the Broncos.
Alberto,
the Broncos.
That's it.
I'm not saying don't
them.
start those guys because you may not have a choice, right? I don't want to. I don't want to. And they're on the road. Houston's on the road. 10-point dogs.
Houston's on the road, yeah, in Denver. 10-point dogs. Can they cover the spread, Ray? They covered the spread last week. Can they do it this week?
I think so. I think so. I mean, they played a lot
Ray's
better.
Got the Texans on the spread. Okay.
Yeah, I would take the Texans. Give me the points. I would take.
I think the defense is better than people. Well, people did give them credit obviously after week one, but I think the defense is. They showed they're pretty good, and Stingley's impact on that defense was definitely noticeable in that matchup for sure.
He's good. He's a good young cornerback. Yep. Derek Stingley's. All right, let's have some fun. And this is a 10-point spread as well. And I'm so intrigued by this game. I truly think for the Sunday games, because we got 2 Monday night games, and we're not gonna the Sunday night game, we'll get to that in a second, but it's a 10-point spread, but Atlanta versus LA. I'm very intrigued by this matchup. I want to see the Rams, man. Are the Rams that bad, or were the Bills that good? What's up with Matthew Stafford? What's going on with Allen Robinson? Even when you look at Cooper Kupp, I want to see A.J. Terrell locked up on Cooper Kupp all game. A.J. Terrell is I think he's a top 5 cornerback in the NFL. He's that good for Atlanta. And a lot of people, you must not, I know you don't watch a lot of defense. I know.
He was one of the highest graded cornerbacks last year, right?
He is the real damn deal. A.J. Terrell is the real damn deal. So you got Terrell, you got Jalen Ramsey, you got Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson. You got Drake London in this matchup who, in his rookie debut, 7 targets, 5 receptions, 74 yards, which led all rookie receivers, 12.2% catch rate over expected, almost 3 yards per route run, 3.7 receiving EPA, which when targeted, which led all rookies. And then he had 5 targets, 3 receptions, 59 yards on passes, 10 to 19 yards. So he's running the routes downfield that matter, right? Drake London, you just go. I challenge anybody out here. Just go to YouTube and put Drake London week 1. He looks good, man. He looks like he's going to be the real fucking deal. So I want to see London versus Jalen Ramsey. I want to see A.J. Terrell on Cooper Kupp. I want to see what's going on with Darrell Henderson and Cam Akers. What's going on in the Rams backfield? Is Allen Robinson going to get busy this week? Is Marcus Mariota half-ass decent to where he can hold this job after this season? And how old is Cordero Patterson? 33? 33 years? 32? And he's running like he's a young man. He's just running like a young man, running wild, Jay. Cordero Patterson, RB1 every week. Go get you some Patterson if you need to win. Fucking good.
He's damn good.
You know?
So, now that Ray McFarland has got his numbers off, great job, Ray. That was a lot of great numbers there for Drake London. But the people really don't care about Drake London. They're starting Drake London. Can we start Kyle Pitts? That's the main question I need to know right now. Can we start Kyle Pitts?
What?
Because Kyle Pitts coming off another phenomenal tight end 1 performance. I believe it was 2 receptions for 23 yards. The people are wondering, Ray, it's a first round dynasty pick. Top 3 rounds in startup drafts for redraft. Kyle Pitts not off to a hot start, 47.5 on over-under for his rushing or receiving yards. Where are you at with Kyle Pitts against the Rams?
Okay. Let's talk about Kyle Pitts for a minute. Let's just talk about Kyle Pitts because he is the dynasty tight end 1. He is.
Should he be?
Got
no,
to, man.
Mark Andrews should be. Mark Andrews should be. 100%. 100% he should be. Just admit it. Then I will leave you alone. Just admit that Mark Andrews is the tight end 1.
Why are you saying that? I'm just asking.
Because he's much more consistent with the same ceiling. Much more consistent with the same ceiling. Yeah, he's a little bit older, but he's like 26.
No. Kyle Pitts is still down. The issue is it's just the consistent, like he ran all the routes. Like I think Ian Hartitz put out a tweet. I mean, his route participation was off the charts. They weren't asking him to block. He just didn't get the targets. I'm not panicking on.
He didn't catch the ball. He got 7 targets, just like Drake London, and he only had 20 yards. Drake London 70 yards.
Not all targets are equal, man. Maybe they were. Did you look at all 7 of them? They weren't on target. No. Some of them weren't on target. They were out of reach. They were bad throws. You don't go out there as a rookie and drop 1,000 yards as a rookie tight end as the guy and not be good. He's still the dynasty tight end 1, man. It's just that he needs some more consistent quarterback play, and hopefully Mariota can continue to develop that rapport with him. He did have the 7 targets. He did participate in the routes. He did get the looks. He just didn't convert. Like, it's not like he was blocking the whole time or Arthur Smith said, we're not going to use this guy. The same way he went out there and he had 2 for 15 last week, he can go get his 8 or 9 for 150 this Sunday. Like, that is within his range of outcome because he's that good of a player. You know, I just think that we do need to have a little level of patience, even as great as he is, right? As great as he is, you got to look, you can't ignore the situation around him. So, yes, he's still the dynasty tight end 1. He still should be. I think the better thing, what you said, is I think people are like the gap between he and Andrews. Maybe it shouldn't be as big as it is because it's like Pitts, Grand Canyon tier break.
Yeah, legit.
And then Mark Andrews
crazy.
And everybody else. Maybe it shouldn't be that way. And I know we've talked about that a little bit, that Mark Andrews is damn good and he's still relatively young. He just turned 27 years old, 26 years old. So both of them are phenomenal. I'm not worried about it. But this game, there is a lot of storyline built into it. And I know it's a 10-point spread, but I will be tapped into the Falcons-Rams. I want to watch this game. I want to see. Listen, man. This is a hard start for Drake London. You're going up against the Saints, and now you got to go up against the Rams, and it doesn't get easier for them. So if he can continue to build that momentum, his stock is going to skyrocket too. Really, I'm really digging this game, man. I think there's some matchups inside the game that I like quite a bit for this Falcons-Rams game.
Yeah, for sure. Like you mentioned earlier, Darrell Henderson should be the guy. Over under 60.5 rushing yards, which I really like still. We'll see if he can get it going, but he got basically the entire workload in week 1, right? Now they've had 10 days off. Let's see, how do they acclimate Cam Akers? Is he healthy? The good thing I think is I haven't heard anything about Cam Akers, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe he's just quietly at practice, getting ready, getting going, and he can be good. But I'm kind of expecting to see a lot of Darrell Henderson again, just because of how heavily involved he was last week. But to your point, I think Drake London, depending on how they cover him, will be very interesting. And on the other side, how the hell does Atlanta plan on covering Cooper Kupp? Because he's the only one that can catch the ball for Matthew Stafford. And does Stafford still look terrible, or can he have a really good game to kind of bounce back from what happened against the Bills?
Yep. What else do we have? Raiders and Cardinals should be a fun game. Derek Carr and Kyler Murray, Devontae Adams getting all those damn targets, Hollywood Brown. Hopefully James Conner gets a little more involved. He didn't do outside that touchdown. Anything. He was nothing. Thank goodness he got in the end zone last week. Zach Ertz, hopefully a little healthier. 17 targets for one Devontae Adams. Just nutty. And you know what Arizona's not good at? Covering anybody. So he should be wide asshole open all game. Him Waller, Renfro. This should be a get-right game for my Raiders. You see I'm wearing this black and white for the Raiders today. I know they're silver and black, but my Raiders, my Las Vegas Raiders. I should go put on my Raiders hat and
Can
jersey.
confirm Ray has officially adopted the Las Vegas Raiders for the 2022 season
For every
after
season.
the loss of his sweet prince
my
Dak
home.
Prescott to his Dallas Cowboys.
I can't.
We need to make the switch official, just so the people know we're not rooting for the
I like
Cowboys
two
anymore.
teams,
This is a
man.
Raiders exclusive show going forward. I'm fine with it. I like Devontae Adams, like Derek Carr. I think they're going to shred the Cardinals. My goodness. But on the back end as well, I think that we could see a breakout game from Hollywood Brown. Last game, we hoped we could see a lot from him. He didn't do much of anything, so hopefully he can get going in this one up against a much more inferior secondary, in my opinion, in the Las Vegas Raiders.
I mean, let's just clarify this. I grew up in Las Vegas. That's where I grew up. During that time, there were no pro sports teams in Vegas, and we were told we would never get one. So all they showed, being on the West Coast, the Pacific time zone, were Cowboys games. So I grew up loving the Cowboys, moved to Texas, live in Dallas, and then as I'm living in Dallas, Vegas gets a team. I got to cheer for the home team. I have to. I got dual alliances, allegiances, man. That's all right.
You got one for each conference. That's okay.
Yeah,
That's
one
okay.
NFC team and an AFC team, baby. It's the hometown. I gotta rock for both. All right. Yes, you said Hollywood Brown potential breakout game. Hey, come on, Kyler. Let's go, Kyler. I want to see some more out of Kyler Murray this week. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Did some very nice runs in that game, but probably need DeAndre Hopkins. Rondell Moore, the last I saw, he still wasn't
Yeah, I haven't seen anything about Rondell Moore, although can't say I'm looking about Rondell Moore.
I didn't look either. Rondell Moore hurt again for Rondell Moore. So, all right, Jay, let's just go to it since we brought it up. Dallas Cowboys versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, matchups inside the game. Quarterback is going to be Cooper Rush. You never know. You get a guy that you get it. It's funny how these backup quarterbacks get in and they have nothing to lose, so they're just YOLOing it.
Slanging it.
The Mike White 5-touchdown game or whatever he had. Cooper Rush, I think he played a little bit last year and he almost won the damn game he played in last year. So Cooper Rush versus the Cincinnati team that was beat up front by the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 1. Now they have to deal with Micah Parsons and Tank Lawrence. So Joe Burrow getting hit because he holds the damn ball forever. He better get it out versus Parsons because Micah Parsons is coming. And you've got Jamar Chase versus Trayvon Diggs. And the last time those two faced off was in 2019, the LSU-Alabama game. Jamar Chase gave him the business for the better part of that game. So it's going to be interesting to watch that. T. Higgins, last I saw, he still was not practicing, trying to get over that concussion. Joe Mixon should be able to run very well against this Dallas defense. Dallas could not stop the run versus Tampa Bay. They were just gashing them like crazy. The linebacking core is not good. It's not good. Dallas is down to safety and Jaron Kearse. So Joe Mixon should really be. And if they get up on Dallas early, turnovers, the game script could just get negative for Dallas. And Cincinnati may just try to get out of there. So Joe Mixon should be a great play versus Dallas. I want to talk to you about CeeDee Lamb, man. I mean, this is what's going to happen, right? Cooper Rush is probably going to be told to throw to one of two people, Dalton Schultz or CeeDee Lamb, but I expect Zeke Elliott to get a ton of work. Zeke and Tony Pollard have to be more involved. Zeke Elliott was very outspoken in the Dallas media saying, I need the ball. I'm fresh. I'm ready. We have to lean on the run with this quarterback. Now, the O-line is still not good. Shout out to Tyler Smith on the left side holding his own as a rookie, as a left tackle. He played phenomenal in that game. But where are you at with Dallas, man? I feel like you got to fire up Zeke. You're still firing up Dalton Schultz, Pollard, flex play, and you're starting CeeDee Lamb if you have him because you kind of have to, right?
So I'll give you the rundown on when Cooper Rush last started, and he actually won that game against Minnesota last season. 24 for 40, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. To the point about the target distribution, 13 targets, 8 receptions, 122, and a touchdown to Amari Cooper. 8 targets, 6 receptions, 112 for CeeDee Lamb. But Dalton Schultz, 7 targets, only 2 receptions. So Cooper Rush much more successful throwing it outside. But again, that's against the Vikings, who had Patrick Peterson as their cornerback 1 last season. And to your point, Zeke Elliott had 6 targets in that game, 4 receptions, only 23 yards against the Vikings. But Pollard, only 1 target, 1 reception, and not a lot of yards carrying the ball either. So expect a lot of Zeke in this matchup, kind of maybe the same for Pollard as we saw last week.
Yeah.
But we'll see, because again, I think, with that defensive front, are they going to be able to run the ball against the Bengals? Maybe. We'll see, especially if you talk about how they're going to play defense. They have great safeties on the back end. They have okay corners, but that defensive front is really good. If they do choose to come down and stack the box a little bit, it will be tough for Zeke or Pollard to get anything going. And they just, again, force a backup quarterback and Cooper Rush to throw the ball. And I think that's kind of the key to success. But that's just where I'm at. I don't know if I think you got to start all these guys. You got to start Lamb. You're probably starting Schultz. Probably starting Zeke.
Cincy's run defense is pretty solid, and Dallas's O-line is not good. So I don't think Cooper Rush, I think you could do a lot worse than Cooper Rush at quarterback. I'm not saying he's going to be great, but I do expect them to just, and if Cincinnati gets up on them, they're just going to throw the ball, right? Give us something, CD. Jesus, give us something, CD Lamb. So that's where I'm at with Dallas, and I am interested to see Micah Parsons go up against that D-line. Tampa Bay, New Orleans. We didn't talk about that. Jay, I have no clue what's going on with Alvin Kamara. Last I saw, he was dealing with I don't know. I have no
rib
clue.
Injury. And he didn't practice again yesterday. So again, monitor the reports today. Is he going to practice? Is he going to play? I don't think if he's active, you got to start him, right?
Yes. Yeah,
I think you don't have a choice. If he's active, you got to start him. But outside of that, I don't know if I can trust him right now. I think what we've seen through receivers is very encouraging. Right? Like, would you start Landry this week against the Bucs?
Yeah.
I think you have to, right? You're starting Michael Thomas.
Yep.
Probably not starting Olave, though. I think Olave didn't do enough. I don't know how involved he'll be.
Not yet.
But yeah, you're starting Kamara if he's active. Jameis, maybe. On the other end, though, obviously starting Tom Brady.
Taysom Hill?
Yeah, that's tough.
I know,
At tight end, though, I mean, there's work. If you got nothing at tight end, Taysom Hill's not a bad option. He ran for 80 yards and a touchdown last week.
Taysom Hill or David Njoku?
Taysom Hill, not close. Not close.
All right.
Not close. Yeah.
Taysom Hill
and there's
or
always
Hayden
a third.
Hurst.
He passes the ball, right?
Hayden Hurst is sneaky good. We didn't bring him up either.
Against Dallas.
He should have a good game. Dallas
he's...
can't cover tight ends. Dallas, he should be all right, unless they put Micah on him, which I hope they don't do that. Just let Micah rush the passer.
But so on the other end, though, can you start Mike Evans in this matchup against Marshawn Lattimore when Marshawn Lattimore is going to be rabid to face Mike Evans again for like the 8th time or whatever their matchup is? Mike Evans, I believe, has never had more than 65 receiving yards.
64 yards
against Marshawn. 64
Lattimore.
is the max,
Yeah.
64 receiving yards. I think he's had like
You're gonna start. Here's the thing. You're gonna start him, and you know what the outcome is gonna be, and you just have to sit there and take it. You just got to accept it.
Do you know how excited I am for Monday comes and it'll be like Mike Evans brick? Like
brick, it's gonna be a brick. He's gonna, but you got to start. You have to. No Chris Godwin. You got to start him. But Lattimore versus Evans is like, it's what Odell Beckham Jr. and Josh Norman were back in the day. For those of y'all who are actually watching football, those two, when they got together, you know it was going to be a damn fight. They're slapping helmets. They're getting ejected. Mike Evans versus Marshawn Lattimore, just ding, ding, ding. The round one in the octagon, those two. You got to start him, but it's probably not going to end. For whatever reason, Marshawn Lattimore he straps up Mike Evans every time, man. Every time.
Yeah.
Every damn time,
every
Jay.
Time.
All right, we got one more to get through before we get out of here, or sort of. Trey Lance. Talk about Trigger Trey real quick. I saw Trey in the strip club making it rain with the honeys.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't see the video? He's in that bitch. He got a stack of money. He got ass on him. He's just making it rain. Trigger Trey getting it out of system, right? We finally get some good game conditions. It's not going to be a tsunami out there. It's hard to grade any of those guys when it's just a pour down rain. But where are you at with the 49ers offense? No Elijah Mitchell. Doesn't look like George Kittle is going to play.
Yep. Probably not going to play.
I don't know, man. I mean,
I think it's just.
Do you think Geno Smith is going to get another dub?
No.
Okay.
Oh God, no. Could you imagine Geno Smith 2-0?
I can't imagine.
I don't know.
I can't imagine
that is
it.
something.
You know
the Seahawks are leading the division, right?
I know the 49ers fans are making a lot of they're getting a little antsy about Trey Lance. I know that. It's crazy.
He does have to have a good game though.
But
he
why?
Has to have
why? It's 1 week.
It was the Bears though. The Bears.
It was
we
a
know
tsunami, man. Bro, like being real. You can't judge that shit, man.
Hold on. No, Bray, think about this for a second. This is not Tom Brady in the tsunami, a guy who can't run. This is your boy Trey Lance, Mr. 1K rushing yards, 50 yards a game. We ain't seeing him running the ball over the field. No one should be able to tackle him in the
50.
rain.
He got his 50.
Why didn't he have 100? He's got these wheels, he's got the conditions.
Dog.
I mean, like, it's supposed to be the guy, okay, you can't throw the ball. That's fine. But you are known for running the football, so run the football. I mean, that's just, again, this is the guy who's supposed to take them all the way. And when you are following up Jimmy Garoppolo, who went to the NFC Championship game, you have to be good. They have to win this game. They have to win it big. They're favored by 8.5. Ray, will they cover 8.5?
No. Seattle. Give me Seattle on the points. Give me Seattle on the points. Give me Seattle.
I think
it'll
be
points.
Close.
Again, it was a tsunami, right? Trey Lance is going to be all right.
Didn't stop Justin Fields.
Aaron Rodgers and his hurt feelings versus the Chicago Bears. What's going to happen in this Sunday night game? I just can't.
Aaron Jones is going to be
man.
heavily involved. Heavily involved. Come on, give me some Aaron Jones, like 50 targets. That would be beautiful.
I mean, Aaron Jones. The LaFleur said he's not going to go into the fourth quarter having 4 fucking carries again either. Which is just insane to me. Like, how do you go into? Did you see on Keep Trade Cut who RB11 is? It's AJ Dillon.
AJ Dillon, baby. AJ Dillon. Over under 50.5 rushing yards. Who has more rushing yards, AJ Dillon or Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I think so too.
Aaron Jones.
I think so too. Can Darnell Mooney bounce back against Jair Alexander?
It was a tsunami. So. Justin Fields, he had 22 yards like in the third quarter. Yes, it was a tsunami. I'm starting anybody that I was thinking about starting from the Chicago and the 49ers game week 1, I'm starting him again in week 2 because week 1
that
didn't
includes
matter.
Cole Kmet?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to get me a zero burger.
Cole Kmet over under for receiving yards is 28.5 yards.
Over.
That's not a lot.
Over.
Okay.
That's 2 catches. Over.
Yeah, it is. It's not a lot.
Where are they playing at? Is it snowing in Green Bay?
It's in Green
yet?
Bay. No,
it's
it's September. You're good. It'll probably be. I mean, it may be cold, but it won't be snowing. So we'll see how Justin Fields plays against that defense. And obviously Rodgers needs to have a bounce back game because he played pretty bad in week 1 against the Vikings.
All right, we're all overtime, and I don't even care. Joe asked me, who are the college players that we're looking at this weekend? So let's put up let's just real
Tank
quick.
Bigsby.
Well, I think Penn State Auburn is going to be a good game. Tank Bigsby versus Nick Singleton should be a very good matchup. You get to see I know it's a long way out, but the RB1 in 2025 Nicholas Singleton versus a bounce back running back that people left for dead in Tank Bigsby. That should be a really good matchup. I'm excited for that one. Who else are we looking at? Cedric Tillman. You're not going to watch that game, but Tennessee, Hendon Hooker, Cedric Tillman, they play Akron. Cedric Tillman is a very, very good wide receiver. And he's starting to get national buzz, Jay. He's starting to get national buzz as the top-rated senior wide receiver and projected first-round pick, Cedric Tillman. 6'3", 215 pounds, probably going to run about a 4.5 40-yard dash. The production is there. The crazy thing about Tillman is he's a fifth-year senior, but he's only 22 years old. I don't know how the hell that happened. I don't know how you've been in college that long and you're still 22, but he's still relatively young. So Cedric Tillman, Joe, is a player that I'm looking forward to seeing. Listen, we got to talk Anthony Richardson, bounce back game. After the performance versus Kentucky and Will Levis, he goes up against South Florida. Last year when he played against South Florida in limited duty, big time runs, like he had like an 80-yard touchdown run, touchdown passes galore. Like he played really well versus South Florida. So you want to see Anthony Richardson get it together. Miami versus Texas A&M is like the late night game, right?
Oh.
Tyler Van Dyke.
Maybe.
Van Dyke? Yeah. No, not Haynes King, but Devon A-Chain, yes. The ABC matchup. The ABC matchup that night is Michigan State versus Washington. So you've got Jaden Reed, Jalen McMillan that you're going to watch, Michael Penix Jr., Jalen Berger. That should be they also have a Michigan State as a freshman wide receiver that's really good as well. And then for me, like the game that I'm personally interested in is USC versus Fresno State. That's the Fox game, 9:30 p.m. QB1 Caleb Williams, Jordan Addison, a.k.a. Justin Jefferson 2.0 versus Jake Hayner, Jalen Cropper. Should be a bonanza. The highest projected over-under total scoring total on the slate. 74 is the projected total for that game. So over 74. Caleb Williams, Jordan Addison, Travis Dye should be a really fun game to watch at night. And I'm glad that game is on at night That way we don't have to compete with anybody. Ohio State's playing a cupcake. Alabama's got ULM. ULM beat them like 10 years ago. But there's not a ton on the slate as far as like big time matchups, but there are just those individual players. Sean Tucker versus Purdue. Want to continue to see Tucker play well, right? That game is early in the morning, so you'll be able to knock that one out. Oklahoma, Nebraska. Scott Frost is gone. Oklahoma going into Lincoln to play against Anthony Grant. You got Trey Palmer at wide receiver, Dylan Gabriel, Marvin Mims. This should be a fun game in the morning. And then the last one we'll talk about is the number 1 team in the country, Georgia versus South Carolina. We get an SEC matchup early on. Stetson Bennett will be drafted and will be in the NFL for a long time as a beautiful Chase Daniels level replacement player and make a great career. After he's done in the NFL, he'll go be the AD at Georgia or run for governor in Georgia. Yeah, Stetson Bennett's going to be the governor of the state of Georgia at some point. I guarantee you it's going to happen. Maybe. Kenny McIntosh, we talked about Kenny McIntosh in the All Gas newsletter. Tap into that. But as far as like marquee matchups, Jay, we don't have a ton this weekend, man.
Yeah, there's none really that I was looking at. You talked about the USC game. I'll be watching that one. You didn't mention Jordan Mims as well, a guy that you're going to be watching on the Fresno side, the running back out of Fresno, should run all over USC. And then the other guys I wanted to look at was Jaleel Brock from Iowa State, right? He's a guy coming off back-to-back 100-yard games, a guy we've been betting on a lot. His line this week is a little bit higher than we were hoping for, but I believe he's a freshman, right? Freshman running back taking over for Breece Hall, playing really, really well, right? So again, a guy that, future projects really well. Iowa State, we know, likes to have workhorse running backs that we see a lot in the NFL. Obviously, coming from Breece Hall and David Montgomery, Jaleel Brock could be the next one, and then Xavier Hutchinson from wide receiver as well, another guy who's been putting up a ton of numbers for Iowa State. So I'll be intrigued to watch that one a little bit, see how those guys perform, see if they can continue. But I think Cedric Tillman is the guy that you've been putting me on to early in the season that I'm really excited to watch again in this matchup.
I also want to throw out your guy too. I want to throw out your guy, and he just continues to stack. I know Cody Carpentier is on him. I like him. I know you like him. KJ Jefferson just keeps stacking on solid performances.
Game.
And he doesn't turn the ball over. He's slimmed down. He can run. He can throw. He just keeps stacking up positive performances on positive performances. Now, Arkansas plays nobody. I think it's Missouri State they play, so it's a cupcake game. I think this is the last sort of cupcake weekend, but KJ Jefferson, keep the name on your radar. And I believe, you guys don't hold me to it, but this Saturday night, maybe during the USC game, because I could just watch it right here, we will do a live stream and recap some of the players for college. So I might go live this weekend.
Mike's wondering why we're not talking about DJ Pooh right now. How do you feel about DJ Uiagalelei?
He's played better. He's played better this year. I know it's not great. He has not played like a first-round pick. He's played better.
Can we ask Gene, is that confirmed? Is Max Johnson actually starting for A&M?
Max Johnson is the starting quarterback for A&M. Thank goodness.
Seriously.
Thank goodness. Haynes King is
awful. Dynasty Barry said Jacob Cohen as well, the wide receiver out of Arizona, 3 touchdowns week 1. Had a bit of a bad game last week, so hopefully he can bounce back. He's also one of our highest projected players. As far as edge goes on the slate, if you're playing on Prize Picks, his over-under, if it's still the same, was 68.5. Even him projected for 94.5 receiving yards. So I do like Jacob Cohen a lot, a guy who was out of UTSA, transferred to Arizona, very talented, great route runner, and probably will be drafted in like the 3rd round of the NFL draft.
Yeah, I think it's a good. A lot of names this weekend. Not a lot of games, a lot of names. But I think I may go live this Saturday, so make sure you tapped in. If you're not doing anything late Saturday night, come hang out with me. I'll set the mood, turn the lights down, and we can just talk some college football and see if these players actually performed. But appreciate you tapping in with us this week. Remember, we got some new shows starting next week. Newsletter in the description, Jay. Anything else you want to tell the people as we go into the weekend?
No, I mean, the biggest thing I think with this week is I would make sure I tune into Jeff Mueller's injury podcast, which will drop Sunday morning on Destination Devy Radio. So check that out. And then Mike and Adam, I believe, are doing the Start sit show. It's not. It should be called the Start Shit Show. Like, let's be real. That's what it probably should be called based on their branding. But they will be doing the Start Sit Show 12 to 1 Eastern time, right before kickoff, doing all your start sit questions.
Gina
right
Knight's
and then,
off the line was out
off the line,
yesterday, I believe. Yep, there we go. Got a lot of stuff, man. Just tap in. We appreciate y'all being here. Hit that thumbs up button. Like the content. Subscribe to the channel. If you are not, if you are new, make sure you subscribe. Comment, as James says, for the algorithm. Y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy the NFL. Enjoy college. I'll stream live on Saturday. The other Destination Devy team members will be live on Sunday morning to talk some start and sits, not shits. And you guys enjoy football this weekend. Make sure you wake y'all asses up with me and Jay on Monday. We out. Peace.